My name is Melanie.
And I'm Michael.
And this is Uplift Stitches. This is a place where we talk about cross-stitching, crafting, and all of the things that make our hearts happy. We're so glad that you're here with us for Flosstube number 2.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about the adventures we've had over the past month, and we've had quite a few of those to talk about. I'm also going to introduce myself a little bit and a few of the projects I've done in the past, how my journey started in cross stitch. We're going to talk about current projects. I have a couple of those. Melanie seems to have a lot more works in progress than I do. We're also going to talk about some future plans as well, and some stitching gratitude. Have quite a bit of thankfulness to pass along. So I hope you enjoy this episode of our Flosstube channel, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah. So first I just want to give a big thanks to all of the kind comments, all of the subscribers and likes and shares, and all of you beautiful people who reached out to welcome me to this community. I'm really so grateful for it. And I'm so glad to bring Michael into this and have him share in this journey with all of us.
Well, I'm glad you invited me. I probably won't be every episode, but I might certainly pop in from time to time. I wanted to pass along my personal thank you to Chris at Chris Cross Stitch for sharing my wife's Flosstube. It was very special to get the email back from him, and he's just such a great, amazing person, a part of this community. So I'm just really grateful. So thank you, Chris. So I guess I can go ahead and start and introduce myself a little bit. I've been stitching since 2019. That's when I first started. Decided I wanted to kind of learn a bit more about Melanie's hobby, and just kind of got hooked. My first pattern was a cow silver from Howl's Moving Castle, and I stitched it. There was a lot of black on black stitching, and as a beginning stitcher, maybe that was a mistake, but I had a good time with it. There's a couple other patterns I began stitching probably that summer, I think, that fall and that summer. And unfortunately, I don't have those projects anymore. They were lost in a house fire in 2020. But I still have the patterns for those, so I probably will stitch those again at some point. I did bring a few things to show you that I'm kind of pretty pleased with. They turned out really well, and they kind of reflect who I am as a stitcher. So one of them is a Snoopy pattern, so I will go ahead and grab that. It's out of this Peanuts in Cross Stitch book. This was a gift from Mel's mom. I don't remember what year it was. Was it probably at least a year or so ago, maybe 2? So I love Snoopy. He's been one of my favorite guys for a long time. And so I went ahead and stitched this on. She got me the actual mug, so this is the one pattern I stitched. Let's see if I can find. I don't think there's enough glare up there.
Like this.
Yeah. So that's the one pattern. And then I also did the other pattern, which is Snoopy flying, one of his classic Red Baron Snoopies.
Yeah, both of these were different patterns that were in this one book.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll stitch some other ones out of this book, but I had to stitch Snoopy, and having the cup was also a lot of fun. So that was one of my fully finished objects. I do have another one that I'm really pleased with. This was the Hobbit Hole. I don't remember what the exact titles. I'll look that up for you guys.
We'll find it.
And she helped me fully finish this. Oh, and this one turned out really well. This is on white 18 count aida, and I don't remember the fabric. It's just a plain white because there's really not much to go, but I thought I do have.
And it was DMC threads?
It was DMC, all the DMC threads. I used the exact called fors, and I was really happy. This is from one of my favorite all-time book and series authors. I'm currently reading Lord of the Rings again as well. I probably have read it certainly over 20 times at this point in my life, probably closer to 30. So I always return to it. It kind of fills my heart with joy every time I go back into the journey. So I do have one other project. It's not a fully finished object. This one is a earlier one. It's on 16 count.
I think this was the third thing you stitched.
Was this the third thing I stitched?
Mm-hmm.
It's on 16 count. I think it's from a video game that I love. Some of you will recognize it. This is from Stardew Valley. This is the house you get. And so I have some plans for this one. I plan to stitch some characters and some of the animals and that into it because, as you see, I left a lot of room. So that one is going to be a continual project of mine. But those are just a few of the things that kind of illustrate some of the some of the interests. I do a lot of full coverage patterns as well. So, in Mel, I think
Yeah, I
this
also wanted to share this one. This was a gift that Michael stitched for me. Did you give this to me last year or the year
it
before?
was the last anniversary.
Yeah, so he stitched this in the mornings when I was sleeping. He's kind of a early morning person and I'm a night owl. So he stitched this in the morning and I just think it's so sweet and beautiful. And I have it in my craft room. I thought it was so, I don't know, just so beautiful that you stitched it for me.
It was a complete surprise to her because I didn't let her see what it was.
Yeah.
I started that when we were in between staying at different places while we were rebuilding from the fire. So it's also kind of a little special for that reason as well. But
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun stitching that. It took me a while to finish it because I couldn't let her see it, so I couldn't stitch it at night when I would usually stitch with her. So yeah, those are just some of the things that kind of show a little bit about who I am as a stitcher and some of the things I like to stitch. So that's a little bit it about me. I guess do we want to talk about the adventures we had over this past month?
It was a busy month.
It was a very busy month. We had, of course, the holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend, and her parents came over for that. And I made barbecue, and we
played a lot of board games.
played a lot
My
of
mom
board.
and I did a lot of stitching.
Yeah, her dad and I played some games ourselves, our own. So.
It was a really nice, quiet weekend. I think we all enjoyed the relaxing and just being together.
Yes, it was a great weekend. So,
and the weekend after that, we went camping. So my extended family does a special camping trip every year. We pick a state park in Missouri, and then anyone who wants to in the family is welcome to come. So we had a lot of fun this year. We stayed at Hahn State Park, which is one of my favorite places, and we just had a great time.
Yeah, it was great.
The weather was perfect.
Weather was perfect. There were s'mores. I mean, there was campfire tales, which are always a lot of fun. There was hiking and searching for different animals on the hike for the scavenger hunt.
And we had 2 new first-time campers with our family this year, so that was a lot of fun. It's always exciting to kind of experience something that's been so familiar to me for a long time. We've been doing this since the early 90s. So it's something that's been a part of my life for a long time, but it's always exciting to kind of experience it for the first time through them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been camping with her since before we were married, and that was my first introduction to her very large extended family. I come from a very small family, so it was quite an adjustment, but it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed every year I've been able to go, so this year was no different.
The weekend after that, we finally had a quiet weekend.
We did. I went over to my mom's and helped. My brother and I helped her with some yard work and just kind of visited because she's getting up there. She just recently celebrated her 80th this past year, so it was good to get over there to visit her and see how she's doing and just spend some time.
Yeah.
And then we went to your
parents. I think around that time you transitioned to being fully remote.
Yes, that's right. I did. Just a few weeks ago, I was already hybrid. I had just transitioned about a year ago from being a librarian for about 10 years. I decided to switch into instructional design, which is basically just designing courses and helping faculty improve their coursework for their students. And it was a hybrid position, so I was driving in 2 days a week and coming home 3 days a week, working from home.
So it's been so great.
Yeah, I absolutely love working remotely, fully being here with Mel to have lunch with her and help her bring groceries in. It's just been a lot of fun. I could be here when deliveries get made or things like that. So it's been great. It saves a lot of time driving. I think it was like 45-minute commute. So definitely grateful for that.
It's given us a lot more time together, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah. So that was when I transitioned, and then Sunday we went to your parents and visited.
We do go there oftentimes on the weekend. We play board games with my dad, and then I spend a lot of time stitching with my mom in the corner. They've got a sectional couch, and my spot is kind of the little corner spot.
Yeah. So the following weekend we went to what was it?
The Needlework Galleria. We went on that Friday, and it was so much fun. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more later when we show our purchases for this month.
Yeah. So that was Friday, and then the following day, unfortunately, we had to go to a funeral. Mm-hmm. A family member had passed away kind of unexpectedly, so that was pretty much all.
It was a hard day.
Yeah, it was a difficult day.
But we were glad that we could be there.
And Sunday we just stayed home and tried to recover. Yes, it was a very full couple days, and we needed time for ourselves. So. Yeah.
Everything around us has been hinting at autumn, but it's been so hot.
It is. It's been unseasonably hot lately. It's been almost 90. It's gonna be almost 90 this weekend, and I'm ready for fall to fully be here. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year, and I look forward to the 60s and 70s weather, and it's not quite been here. So,
Yeah.
um,
So we had a busy month, but a good month, and I think we both got a lot of stitching done.
we did. I mean, I tend to be more monogamous than she is, so I don't think I have quite as many whips going, but I definitely got a lot of progress on the whips I have, so really happy with that. I don't always get to stitch in the evenings either because I'm too tired or things of that nature, but I definitely made some good progress. So I think we'll transition. You can talk a little bit about your finishes that you had before we
Yeah,
start talking about
so
whips.
I stitched a lot this month. So I do have two fully finished objects. The first one is one that you haven't seen. It's a piece that I stitched in the middle of August.
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
This was a free pattern from Satsuma Street, and it's called Summer's Flight. I used all of the called for DMC threads, and this is stitched on a 28 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. And I stitched this with 2 threads over 2 strands of linen. I used a trim that I had gotten from Michael's. I got one of those large packs of trims that they have, I think last year. So I used that and then some fabric that I had in my closet. So it's a happy little end of summer bird. And then the other piece I finished was one that you saw in my whip parade. This was the last one that I had, is the thing that I started on September 1st. This is Float by Plum Street Samplers. I think I was about halfway finished when you saw it, and I spent another week stitching on it and finished it. And I made it into a little pillow. I stitched this with all of the called for DMC threads on 28 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. I stitched with 2 threads, and then the back stitching I did with 1 thread. I kind of went back and forth on what I should do, but I decided 1 thread looked good. I used a lady dot trim and some fabric that I had, and I fussy cut out a butterfly from a different fabric that I had and added that to cover my little hole where I stuffed it with fiber fill. So these are my 2 fully finished objects for this month.
I don't really have any fully finished objects for this month, but I tend to stitch larger patterns anyway, so that usually takes me a while. I do stitch some smaller ones, but I'll go ahead and show my
the thing that you worked on this month.
This is the one I've been working on the most this month. It's called Spooky Welcome by Stony Creek. Let's see if we can get a good picture of that pattern. So they did it on I'd use the recommended black. I'm using anchor thread, or anchor floss, and it's been stitching really well. And I used a different color though. I'm stitching it on, this is called 18 count Moon Glow by Picture This Plus. So that's my progress at the moment. I've been stitching on this in the evenings mostly. It is turning out pretty well. I really like the way the yellow looks on this one with the modeling, so definitely enjoy it.
Using 1 strand of the anchor?
I'm using 1 strand of anchor. I found I really like stitching with one thread, 1/1, so that's what I'm doing with this pattern.
Yeah, that's your preferred.
That's my preferred. And I have another project going as well. This one's kind of taking a backseat for the time being. I'll get back to it as soon as I finish this Halloween one. This one is called Fantasy Winter Castle. I don't remember the designer, but I can look that up as well. We'll put that in.
Yeah, we'll put it all in the description box
below. And this is on 20 count. It's in a 20 count aida by Vintage Needle Arts.
Yeah, we can tell it's from My Vintage Needle Arts, but we can't tell what the color is. If we find it, we'll put it in the description box.
But this is also 1/1, so this one is turning out pretty well. It's a very large pattern. It's full coverage, so it's going to take me a while. It's probably going to be a multi-year project. This is 1 full page and then part of another one, and it's actually got 8 pages to it, so it's going to be a while. But I'm enjoying it, and I'll be returning that once I finish this Halloween one, because it'll be more moving towards winter and Christmas type patterns. So.
The other thing that I stitched on this month was another thing you saw in my whip parade. It's Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. And I am working on the large main sampler. When you saw this last time, I just had a little bit of the border that I had done in May of 2022, and that was the last time I had stitched on this. Oh my gosh, look at this. I got so much stitching done these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, she stitches so fast compared to me, but.
Yeah, so all I had was this border, and I just kind of decided, I debated whether I wanted to continue the border or stitch the first, like the top part of the sampler, and I decided to stitch the top part of the sampler. So I've completed that entire section, and I'm so happy with it. It's so beautiful. Those huge flowers are just bonkers. But I think it's beautiful. It kind of rekindled my desire to stitch on it. So we'll see if I pull it out. Probably not this fall, but maybe in the springtime I'll pull it out again and work on it a little bit. This is stitched with all of the called for DMC threads on a 36 count willow by Color and Cotton, and I'm using 1 strand of thread. And that's all we stitched this month.
Yeah, yeah. I just have the 2 patterns going. I'll probably have a few more than 2 going pretty soon because I have a few starts I'll be talking about in a bit. But yeah.
I did do some quilting this month, so we'll take a minute for me to grab that and we'll show that to you.
We're back, and she's got her quilting to show you, so I know she's excited.
Yeah, so I haven't quilted since May, I think was the last time I sat down at my sewing machine. As you saw, I did a few pillow finishes, and then I had a great conversation with my cousin Bailey when we were camping about she's gotten into crochet lately, and just her joy and enthusiasm and asking me how my crafting is going kind of renewed my desire to get back into quilting. So I thought I would start with something small at first and kind of get my muscle memory to kick back in. So I made a table runner for our buffet that's in our dining room. I wanted something to kind of put on top that I could put a bunch of pumpkins and stuff on to decorate. So I made this disappearing 9-patch tabletop runner. And I used a variety of different Halloween fabrics that I had in my stash. And don't look too close because halfway through quilting I realized I forgot to put my walking foot on. So it's a little bit pulled and wiggly waggly, but I'm okay with it because it's just got a bunch of pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns on top and some stitching projects. But I followed a tutorial from Pretty Simple Sarah, which I'll link below. And it was really easy and helpful for me to kind of remember what I'm supposed to do and how to get back into this. So that was a good project for me to kind of flex those muscles. And then I went and made a quilt top. So I had bought some fabric. Last year I made several project bags from the Cheer and Merriment line from Moda. And at the time that I purchased the fabric to make those bags, I also bought a jelly roll. And a few weekends ago, I don't remember the exact date, I saw on Instagram that it was National Quilt with a Jelly Roll Day. So I said, I guess it's time for me to pull that out and finally use it. So I did. So I made this quilt top. I used the Jelly Roll Jam free quilt pattern from Fat Quarter Shop, and I got a quilt top. Ooh,
Some help?
Yeah. I'll insert a picture of it. But I kind of doubled the pattern. So the pattern actually makes a much smaller, like baby size quilt. And I wanted to use the entire jelly roll. So I did. And this is what I came up with. I totally messed up on my seams and I was not sewing at a 1/4 inch, but I had to do some trimming and everything worked out just fine. So I already have backing fabric and binding fabric. I'll get to it sometime, but I'm excited to have that done and move along from that. And then I also started another quilt because why not, right? So it's a surprise project that Michael will get this next weekend.
Ooh, I like surprises.
For his birthday, but I'll show you the backing fabric and maybe you'll get a little hint.
A little preview.
Ooh, and the binding fabric. Oh, things to come.
Aha!
Spooky things to come. So I'm excited and we'll show that to you in the next video.
Yep. Okay.
And that's all my quilting.
All right. Yep. So do we want to show our haul next?
Yeah.
Because there's quite a bit of that.
Oh my goodness.
Bear with us a little bit.
All right, let's compose ourselves.
Yep. All right, we're back and we're composed and I think ready to show you the immense amount of haul. She's going to show you some other haul first that she
We
got
did some
somewhere else.
purchasing. Lauren of the New Hampshire Stitcher started a Sal back to school, kind of stitch on something huge. So that's part of why I went back to the Let Love Rain. But I also decided that part of back to school shopping is that sometimes you buy things that you don't use for a while. You know, you buy something and then you don't use it until halfway through the school year. So I've had a project that I'm preparing to stitch for my birthday in March. I'm going to be turning 40. So I decided I'm going to stitch And a Forest Grew by Rosewood Manor. I had purchased this pattern, I think last year at Galleria. So I decided as part of Baptist school that I would get the threads because there are over 100 DMC threads that this pattern calls for. So I went through my stash and I figured out which ones I needed, and y'all, can you handle it? This could be a wig. It's massive. And some of them are in other projects right now because I know I'm not starting this until March. But I did get all of the threads that I need for this massive project so that it'll be ready to go. All I have to do is get fabric and I'll be ready for my birthday start. So this was my non-Galleria haul.
Non-Galleria haul.
But we did go to Galleria, as I said, that Friday of that weekend.
Yep. And
Michael worked a half a day, and then we went.
That's my usual pattern. I actually work 9-hour days, and then I get half a day on Fridays, which is nice as well.
Yes.
So we went to there after I got off. We ate a quick lunch and went out, and we ended up getting a lot more than we.
Oh my gosh, we got a mountain of stuff.
We both said, "Oh, I'm only going to focus on getting this." And I'm
right. I said, "I'm just going to look at patterns." You said, "I'm just going to look at fabric," and then we saw all the beautiful things. It's so inspiring. Yeah. I know people have said this in other Flosstube videos about how it feels when you walk into a store and you see the beautiful models on the walls. Well, this is so special and just like that, because each room that you go into, you see these special models and beautiful things, and you get to talk with some of the designers and fabric dyers, and it's just a really great experience. This is the third year that I've gone.
This is the second year I've gone. Yeah. I didn't go one of the years, but
yeah.
So we got.
So we were definitely inspired.
Yes, and I guess we could start with. Do we start with the fabric? I guess probably.
Yeah, we can start with the fabric. The fabric dyers that we saw when we were there was a new one to us, and it's Live and Dye LA. It's a person that neither of us had ever heard of before, but they had a great selection of fabrics, and they have a new online shop.
They have an online shop,
and
which
a fabric club
too.
And a thread club. So yeah, if you're interested in that, please go ahead and check them out. They have a lot of really bright, vibrant colors.
They do, and they had a lot of more variety of aida than I see in most shops. So that's what I was excited about, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I got a few. This one is called California Sage. It is 20 count. It's really pretty. I love the modeling. I have a project in mind for this. It's a fall pattern. I probably won't get to till next year because I'm still waiting to get one of the silks I need for it. Yeah. But I also had cranberry sauce. This is for a Christmas one I'm going to be stitching. I could probably take that out so it doesn't glare as much. There, that looks nice. I've been trying to find a nice red for this Christmas because it uses white floss, and this will really make it pop, I think. So, and I also have, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this one, but I thought it was really great coloring on this one. It's called Smack the Jellyfish. It's also 20 count. I've been stitching a lot on 20 count. I really like it. So kind of show it's just a really pretty pattern. I'm sure I'll find a good use for this one, but it's I was excited to see this one. And I got one on impulse. I had no clue what I would stitch on this, but it's just was too just bright. It's not
conveying how neon green it is.
It's very neon green.
And it's called Oogie Boogie?
Yeah, it's called Oogie Boogie. So I don't have a clue what I'll stitch on it, but it's I was excited about that.
You'll find something.
There's one more Live and Dye, but it's going to be shown when I talk about my future plans.
Yeah, and I got 2 fabrics from them. I got this hazy shade of winter. I was going for, that I love stitching all the snow people, so I tried to get some colors that would work for those kinds of projects. And then this one is called Evergreen Dew. It's more of like a tealy And then I also got 2 of their threads. So they have some hand-dyed threads. I got Autumn Splendor, which I think I'm going to try to find a Quaker, some sort of autumn Quaker to use that on, and Taste the Rainbow. I'm sure I'll find some sort of lovely pride piece to stitch with this in the spring.
Yeah, I did get a silk. I don't remember. I think that was
I think we put it in with...
Oh, yeah, we put it in with the project I'm working on.
Yeah. He's gonna... I think next year you're gonna do the Autumn Lane Stitchery... Autumn Town?
Autumn Town, that's what it is. I've been trying to...
A lot of other people I've seen stitching it lately. It's got like the houses and the huge, beautiful trees. I'll put a picture.
I mean, your dad's doing it.
My dad's stitching it right now.
So...
yeah.
So, but I wanted to try the I wanted to try the silk because I've never stitched with silk, and it seems like a nice project for that.
Yeah, he was able to get the red color.
I got the red color, but I still have been looking for the other color. So
we'll find it.
Search goes on.
Right.
So I did get a couple.
Other fabric
I got a few other fabrics. This one is just this Weigart. I've been looking for kind of a nice royal dark blue. This is in 18 count.
22 count.
22. Oh, this is 22 count. Because I've been wanting to step up towards 25, and then eventually, if I do Lugana, it'll be a 28 count. So I usually, like I said, I like to do 1/1. So I also got this one. This is also a 22 count. It's a Hardanger.
It's called Midas Touch.
Midas Touch
by Hand Dyes by Jim.
Hand Dyes by Jim. So I really like the modeling. This is just, it's got some really cool modeling.
It's really beautiful.
So I'm sure I'll find some good use for that. This one, I got it because I was really curious. It's a 22 count solo by Hand Dyes by Jim. It's just a really different kind of a fabric.
It has a really strange texture to it. It's almost like nylon-ish.
It's like almost like It's going to be different to stitch on. So I don't know if I like it or not.
But the color's really pretty.
The color
is
so
like a
pretty.
Peachy orange.
It's a peachy orange, a little modeling
with some yellow and cream.
So I will try this one out and see how I like it. I don't know. We'll see. That is.
So I also got some fabrics. I got some Laura's fabrics. This is Mountain Mist. Again, I thought a good snow person color. It's like a really light and minty blue. And then Needle Bling Designs. I'll link it below. They announced when we were there that we talked with them a little bit. They're going to be having a retreat in
Minnesota. It's Minneapolis.
Yeah, so I'll link that information below. I forgot to bring the flyer in here with me, but I did get 3 fabrics from them. I got Spellbound, which is like a grayish, purplish blue. Heirloom, which is a good beigey, creamy color. And Cookie Dough, which is a brownish. And then I also got some fabrics from Fabrics by Stephanie. This is a test dye. So, I don't know what it's close to in her palette that she already has, but it's like a minty green. And Friendship Green, which is like a really pale, sagey kind of green. So I thought those were all really lovely. And then I got a whole bunch of patterns.
I got a few patterns. She got a lot more patterns than I do.
So from Needle Bling Designs, I also got Joys of the Season Halloween. Silver Creek Samplers. We spent a long time talking with Diane. We got Give Greatly, another snow person for me to start this winter. And Merry Sleigh Bells. I love that. From Barbie Pedal Pusher, I got Peace on Earth. From the Mindful Needle, I got Squirrel Frolic. And Quaker Birds. From one of the shops, I got Mr. Marshmallow from With My Needle and Thread. And A Winter's Day Visit, also from With My Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. I got Boo from Liz Matthews. And I got Silver Bells from Jan Hicks Creates. These models were so beautiful in person, I couldn't pass it up. I also got Eliza's French Burrs from JBW Designs. This one I've been hoping to get for a little while. I got Espresso from Rosewood Manor. A Little Spring. I got The Rabbit and the Rose from With My Needle and Thread. I got the Spring Basket Pin Keep from Stacy Nash. And I also got Paisley and Whitaker. I had in and out of my cart several times last year, but I'm so looking forward to stitching them this year. And I got to see the models in person, and that was just even more inspiration for stitching these and putting them in my stash. And also, Stacy Nash is coming out with candles. So they were burning some in the room, and we came home with the caramel pumpkin waffles.
It smells amazing.
Oh, imagine pumpkin and maple syrup and waffles.
Yeah.
I'm drooling already. And then I also got from RATM Bella, which I'll start sometime next spring. And then I also got a few trims. So I got some Lady Dot trims. I got 4 different ones. A few chenilles and a pom-pom, which the pom-pom is what I used on Float when I finished it.
So I got a few patterns, not nearly as many. So, but one of them I know I can't show because it's going to be a Christmas gift. So it's going to remain anonymous until Christmas, and then at some point I can show you the pattern. But I do like the Mill Hill kits a lot. I really enjoy the beading. It's a lot of fun to do. So I got a few Mill Hill kits. This one is the Autumn series, Into the Woods. It's a kind of a Halloween.
Spooky cats.
Spooky cats. I thought it was really cute. And I got the Tree of Life. That's also by Mill Hill. There we go. I could probably, sort of. And I got a couple other patterns, but I'll save those for.
Yeah, we both have things that we're gonna talk about when we talk about our plans.
I did get some needles too because I was getting a little.
Yeah, you like the bow in 28.
I like the bow in 28,
and I like Peacemaker 28.
So I did get a few of those, but other than that, the rest of it should pretty showed with my future projects, which will be coming up in November, December. So.
Yeah.
So I think
it's a lot, but I think we're set for the year.
I think we're set for the year. I'm sure we'll probably get some for
we'll probably need
Christmas
threads and stuff. But
we usually get a pattern for your mom on Christmas or something. But so we'll end up with more patterns and stuff, I'm sure. But it's going to keep me busy for a while. Plus, I have patterns that I haven't even touched that are in storage. So
yes,
way more patterns than I can stitch for anytime soon.
There will be joyful times of stitching ahead.
There will. So I guess we'll take a break and collect ourselves to show our future projects.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do over the next month.
Yep. Okay, so I think we've composed ourselves. We have our future plans here in front of us. Do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay, so I have a few plans going forward. I'll start with my smaller projects. This one is another Mill Hill. It's called the Proud Penguin, and he's just like super cute. I could not stitch him. He's probably going to be a Christmas gift for my mom because she loves penguins. So she hopefully won't watch this, but at least not before Christmas. But I also got another Mill Hill. This one is called Santa's Trees. This was actually the last year's, right?
Yeah, you bought this last year at Galleria.
I bought this last year at Galleria. So this one is. Yeah, that one is super cute. Really comforting, kind of cozy. So
cozy Christmas trees.
Cozy Christmas trees. So, and then I got a couple new ones. These were from the one we just went to, the Galleria.
Yeah.
The fabric and the patterns. So this one is a Silver Creek sampler. It's called Spruce It Up, and try to get it so it doesn't glare. I'm really looking forward to stitching this one for Christmas. Reminds me of Christmas Vacation. So one of my favorite Christmas movies, that and It's a Wonderful Life. And I'm gonna stitch it on this. This one is Cauldron Spill Aida. It's an 18 count by Laura's Fabrics. It's got a nice modeling. I think it'll look real nice on there. So that one is gonna be a lot of fun to stitch. I still got to get the threads together for it, but
we can do that.
Yeah. And then I got one other pattern I'm going to be stitching as well. This is also by Silver Creek Samplers. This is a Kringle Flying Academy, which I couldn't resist because it's just like super cute, super cool. Santa going out and riding on top of a reindeer. I mean, how can you not stitch that? And I'm going to use one of the 11 dye fabrics I got. I'll go ahead and take it out. so it doesn't shine. This one is called Cardiff. It's a 18 count aida. It's an opal, so it's got kind of a
Yeah, it's opalescent.
it's kind of got a nice sparkle to it, which it actually is coming through. So it's got a nice modeling. I think that'll look really nice on there. This is my first opal, so hopefully I'll like the way it turns out. I think I will. So, and I do have, like I say, I have one pattern I can't show because it's a Christmas gift. It's a Mill Hill pattern, but that's all I can say in case they're watching this. So, now, Mel, what do you have?
Well, you're also thinking about, there's a Hobbit pattern.
There is.
About doing?
It's a Hobbit Hole, a custom Hobbit Hole, by Cunning Cross Stitch is the Facebook group. And I learned about this on a new Flosstube that I just started. I think I've only watched a couple.
Yeah, well, I think we found her last month.
I found her last month.
Her name is Hillary, and she's Subpar Stitches.
Subpar Stitches. She has a really nice. She has a interest kind of similar to mine a lot of respects. So I really enjoy watching her channel. I definitely recommend going to check her out. She's a lot of fun to watch. But I heard about this on her channel. And it's a completely free pattern, so you just have to go and ask to join the cross stitch group on Facebook. I've downloaded it. I haven't got all the fabrics and the threads for it. I think they're allowing like 3 or 4 months to do the first part before they're released like every 3 months. So
it's a sale,
and there's all kinds of options and choices you get to choose for each section. So everyone will be.
So the first one is like a Hobbit Hole, but you can choose like what color, if you want it to be autumn colors or summer colors, or what color you want the door.
The trees, the doors, the windows are customizable. There's an option to stitch yourself as an elf.
It's gonna be really cool.
So it's really a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to stitching
That's right up your alley.
Yes, I absolutely love Lord of the Rings. I have since the 4th grade when I first read The Hobbit. So I haven't looked back. I've read it many times since. So
yeah.
This one
so
is
you
really
might
cool.
potentially start that.
I might start that this fall as well. So that I'll have more whips than I've had in ages. Because I don't have lots of whips, as she knows. I usually try to keep my whips 2 to 3 at a time is probably what my usual. At this point, I might have 4, 5, 6.
We'll find out.
We'll see. And so that's my plans for stitching. I'm sure that could change too because I don't really have a set pattern or plan.
No, and Octobers are usually busy for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. See what happens.
So, and she's got some.
Yeah. So I have 3 things that I'm definitely going to start. I may start 5 things because there's 5 Sundays this month. And I finished my goal on Let Love Rain. So we'll see. If I might start a new thing every Sunday, but we'll find out. These 3 for sure. So this first one is Counting Puddles, which is a new designer to me. It's called Spooktacular Party. And I saw this and like I couldn't get it in my hands fast enough. It is so cute. So I went through my threads and I pulled out all the threads, which thankfully I had all the DMC colors. There's a lot of purples, which is probably why I was drawn to it, because purple is my favorite color. And I have this piece of slate from Fabrics by Stephanie, which I got last year at Galleria that I hadn't broken into yet. So I think this is going to work perfectly. So this is probably what I'm going to start tonight, when we sit down to stitch tonight. And we'll see if I decide to keep stitching on it when Sunday comes or stitched on something else. I also got Troublemakers from Barbie Petal Pusher. I thought it was so cute with all those pumpkins and sneaky little crows getting into trouble. So I also got together the threads for that, which I had most of them. I had to borrow one from Michael. Michael likes keeping his threads on bobbins, but I know I'm not going to be using a lot of it, so I was okay with borrowing some from him. And I think I'm going to use this 32 count Apparition by Color and Cotton. I think it'll work.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, thanks. And then I also got Harper's Forest, which leading up to Galleria, I have been watching Barbie's posts on Instagram, and I was drooling over this for several weeks before we got to Galleria. I knew it was going to come home with me. So once again, I got all the threads together. And then I have 2 colors I might use. I might use this mint from Needle Bling Designs or Oatmeal from Color and Cotton. I can't decide if I want to go brownish or greenish, but I think either way, these fall colors are going to pop. Decisions to come later. We'll find out next time what I decided to do.
Yeah. So we will have quite a bit planned. So
yeah,
we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy month. We'll see also. So we'll see.
It is, but we'll find time for stitching.
Always time for stitching. So Okay, so I think that is it for our plans. We do have a little bit of gratitude to pass along.
Hmm.
I wanted to send out another thank you really to Chris Cross Stitch, because it was really great what he did and what he does for new floss tubers and all of us really. So
Yeah, I've been watching his videos since the very beginning, and it's been such a joy to be a part of his neighborhood. Chris, I'm just so grateful for the kind things that you said about me, and we just love your videos so much. When we were in transition, and I'm gonna get emotional, but when we were when we were moving from place to place, when we were waiting for our house to be built, it was such a comfort to have your videos.
yes, it was a tough journey, a tough couple of years really
There are a
rebuilding.
lot of floss tubers that helped to
And
kind of pull us through that time as we were stitching, but Chris, definitely you're toward the top of the list of a person who just your love and your joy have helped us through.
yes, I'm really grateful for you as having you as a neighbor as well as everybody else.
Yeah.
I know Mel had a couple other people she wanted to mention as well.
Yeah, so another person who gave me a really lovely shout out um, in this last month was Phoebe at Moonshine Stitchery. She's a stitcher who I had never watched her floss tubes before, but I was so glad that she mentioned me because it brought me over there to watch her video. She's a person who dyes a lot of her own fabrics and threads, and so I was really inspired by her choices in the things that she's stitching, and the confidence that she has to make those kind of decisions. Because sometimes I do branch out, but sometimes I'm kind of a little bit afraid and stick to the rules. So I was really inspired by some of the things that she's stitching and just her kindness in this community. I think she's a great person to watch. A person that I would like to shout out is Caroline at Caroline's Stitch Corner. She's a brand new floss tuber. She just posted her first video, I think, in the last couple weeks. And I stumbled on her when I was working on my secret project quilt. I was doing some chain piecing, and she came on, and I clicked on it. And she's just a lovely stitcher. She lives in Austria, and she's a multi-crafter, and she stitches on a variety of different things like I do. So some full coverage, some Quakers, some pieces with a lot of back stitching, just a real variety of things. Some things she uses what's called for, and some things she branches out and and gets a little creative. She sews, and she makes all her own project bags. I just really felt like she was a kindred spirit across the ocean. So I just want to shout her out and encourage you to go and check out our channel if those are things that you're interested in seeing and stitching as well.
So, well, I think that's it for this time.
I think
But
that's it.
we will be back again in about a month, or
Yeah, so sometime in the beginning of November, you'll see us back again.
yeah, I know we have our anniversary trip. It's in the beginning of November, so it may be just
Yeah, it'll either be
before.
before our trip or after.
Yeah, but it will definitely be back.
Yeah, and we'll let you know all of the things that we've gotten into in October.
Yep.
We are going to talk a little bit about board games. So if that's something that you're not interested in, we wish you well. We hope that you have a great month, and we look forward to hearing from you and seeing, I don't know, seeing you again.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
so grateful to have this time together, and we wish you all the best.
Yep. Thank you for watching. And if you're not interested in board games, you're free to exit. And if you are, then you'll get to hear about some of our war games over the last month. So
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk now about some of the games we played over the last month, and this is kind of a hobby we've been sharing since before we were married, really.
Yeah, so a lot of floss tubers at the end of their videos, they'll talk about other interests that they have, books or podcasts or other things that they're into. This is the other thing that we're into, is board games.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been playing, like I said, since before we were married. We took a short break when my father died. It was a really tragic time in my life. I needed to focus to healing, and then when I decided to call her up again and start hanging out again, I invited her to a game of D&D, and that's something we still do as well, which we won't talk about this time. But
I've played with games with my family for a really long time, and
Yeah.
I think you have too.
we've both been gamers since probably most of our lives. So
Yeah.
this is something we share, and we thought we would share this with you.
Yeah, it's one of our big hobbies around here.
Yep. So we decided to limit it to games we played 2 or more times this month, because we do play some games once, and then and then not play them again for that month. So
it would make it a really long section of this Flosstube.
yeah, and she keeps track of the games we played using an app.
Yeah, so I use Board Game Stats, which is an app. It's like a green background with a pawn figure on it. I got it through the App Store, but I'm sure it's on other platforms as well. It's a pretty well known in the gaming community as a way to keep track of your games. So it's awesome. I can keep track of gameplays, our scores to see percentages of who's won and how good we are at things. But it's great because unlike stitching with gaming, you can't really measure your progress or keep track of it. So
it's about the experience. So this is a way for you kind of remember your experience.
Right. And there's a lot of times where I'll look back over it and think, oh my gosh, that was such an awesome game that we played with our friend, or, that was a really memorable time that we had with people that we love. So it's a great way to just store those memories.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and start, I guess, this is the game we played the most.
This is the game we played the most of all time.
And we bring it up back a lot. I mean,
yeah, you'll see it several times, I'm sure.
But this one is called Wingspan by Stony Meyer. And
it's designed by Elizabeth Hargrave. It's a game about birds. You're collecting birds. The birds have different powers that you're using.
Yeah, and what?
It's just our favorite game.
yes. We play this a lot. We play this with ourselves, with her family.
Yeah, we have all of the expansions. So a lot of times when we pull it out and it's just the two of us, we'll just play it until we run out of cards. We'll just keep playing games and games.
But I know even your brother bought it on the digital form.
They play digital.
Because it's on platforms you can get.
I think it's on Steam.
It's on Steam.
And I play it on Board Game Arena sometimes.
So, if you're curious about it, you can always play it on there first. The Board Game Arena is actually free.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a lot of fun. We never get tired of it.
No.
So, we take breaks, but we come back to it all the time.
Yeah.
So that is Wingspan. If you like birds, definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's a good medium weight game.
Yeah, it's kind of a medium weight game. It's not super heavy, super complicated.
There is reading, so
there's some reading.
Not for young players.
Not for young players. You probably get away with less reading on the app version, maybe.
No,
I don't know. I've not played it on the app. She has. I've only played.
It's the same as playing it in person. You have to read the details on the cards.
So. That's
Wingspan. Our next most played game of this month is Earth. This is a game that we were introduced to at Gen Con this year. Gen Con, if you don't know, is a gaming convention. It's the largest one in North America. And we've gone 2 years now. So this is a game that we tried out and we liked so much that we went over to the booth and bought it.
Yep.
By Inside Up Games. In the game, you are an island. And you're kind of creating your ecosystem. So you're growing plants and trying to attract different animals
to your island, and
you're trying to meet certain conditions to get points.
And there's events that can happen, and it's just a lot of fun. You're growing trees or plants, and then you have little buds that pop up. So it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We tend to like nature themed games. We have
do.
A lot of those. So.
Another game that we played several times this month is Azul. This is a game that was gifted to us by some friends. In the game, there's several different versions of this. This just happens to be the chocolate version. But in the game, you're either laying tiles or in this case, playing chocolates and trying to make certain pattern in order to get points.
Yeah.
So it's a very visual game. There's no reading involved. I've played it with kids before. It's a good math game.
And with this game, you could always eat chocolates while you're playing. So.
Yeah, we usually get hungry. Another game we played several times is Flamecraft. In this game, you are helping dinosaurs to discover, or dragons, I'm sorry, not dinosaurs. You're helping dragons to find their place in a community by giving them jobs at different shops. And then you're visiting them and improving their shops. And the artwork is just amazing.
This was a Kickstarter?
This is a Kickstarter that I found. They're going to be coming out with a new game, which is creatures that are cooking. So I might be backing that this month. We'll see. But that's Flamecraft. It's another great family game. I would say there's a little bit of reading.
A little bit of reading, but not a whole lot.
No, but they also have different levels of difficulty for playing.
Yeah, so the last one.
And then the last game that we've played several games of is Race to the Raft. This is a cooperative game. We have the original game, which is called Isle of Cats, and that is a competitive game where you're trying to rescue cats from an island that's in distress. Well, in this game, all of the cats that are left over, you are trying to get off of the island. So it's a cooperative. It's a very puzzly game.
It's a puzzle building game, so you're trying to fit puzzles.
Yeah, you start out with a map, and then you're trying to make lines for the cats to get safely through.
Correct. And as you're making the lines, the fire is also growing on the island.
Ooh.
So you're trying to beat the fire and get the cats off the island.
Yeah, everyone's working together. And in this one, there's no reading.
There's no reading. So it's pretty friendly. There's still puzzles which
if your kids aren't bothered by distress, it can be a little bit anxious if you're not doing so well. But it's a good cooperative game.
Yep, definitely. So.
Yeah, and it's one that they have a lot of different scenarios for. So we've like barely scratched the surface of this.
Yeah,
game.
we're not that far into it yet. We've only gone through part of the campaign.
Yeah, I think we've
the
played
tutorials,
it 10 times.
the practice ones, and the campaign. So
yeah.
There's a lot more to go. So
we're looking forward to playing more of it.
I'm sure we'll talk more about it as we get further into the game.
Yeah.
So those are the ones we've played 2 or more times. There's a bunch of other ones we played once and then moved on to the next game. So that was just a small bit of our gamings for this month. But we'll talk if you like this, we'll talk a little bit more about it next month.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we had for today.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for today.
So I hope you'll join us again next month.
Yeah, we'll see you at the beginning of November sometime.
Yep.
Either before or after our anniversary trip.
Yep. And until then, be well and enjoy your stitching and gaming or whatever else you enjoy doing.
Yeah, we hope that your month is filled with stitching and joy and all of the things that make your heart happy.
Yep.
And we wish you all the best.
Yep.
I love you.
Love you. See ya.
Bye.